now.
Welcome to Burnt Out. The Burnt Out podcast shares the stories of firefighters, emergency personnel, and other first responders around the world to create a pathway to save lives. The stories you will hear are real and may be disturbing to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. And now I'd like to introduce you to your host for Burnt Out, a 33-year retired veteran of the fire department, Skip O.
Sean Neal, thank you for that cool introduction. I'd like to welcome everybody to Burnout Podcast 2. We're here to talk to a good friend of mine, and also we got another good friend that's helped co-host it. But first, let's talk about our sponsors. We got Turning Point Madison County is one of our sponsors. They deal with mental health. It's a 24-hour, 7-day service that you can call that line if you're in Madison County. And also we got Bridges of Hope, the Warriors Program. That's a treatment facility in Indiana that for first responders. So if you want to know any more about those, go to burnoutpodcast.org, and there's more information on their website. But today I'd like to thank, again, Jeff. Thanks for the old guy for coming on and co-hosting once more. How you doing today?
I am outstanding.
Really? Are you?
I do very well today. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Skip.
Good.
Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
All right, my brother. Thank you for being on. And I got another good friend, Shawn Tucker. Shawn has a business out in Arizona. I'll let Shawn go over a little brief description of his business and a little bit of his background. Shawn, welcome to the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Skip.
Go ahead, Shawn. Just give us a brief description.
All right. I actually got two businesses. I got a nonprofit. I got a for-profit business. The nonprofit business, we mostly deal with service dogs. It's called Northern Arizona Service Dogs, and we provide service dogs. The other business I have is Hillside Canine. And a lot of people come through Hillside Canine to get service dogs as well. I've been doing it for over 10, 12 years. And right now we're just expanding. So I have 3 locations. We got boarding, training, daycare, and also grooming. So that's a little bit of what I do. I specialize in the dog training field.
Okay, Shawn, once upon a time, was you a firefighter?
Yeah, I did over 18 years in the fire service. That was a great career. And I lost my son and really took a downward road spiral. And I just went to the center, and I just realized to myself that it was time to exit out of the fire department and pursue something that I was passionate about. And I always was passionate about the fire service, but I just thought this was a better, more healthier move for me. And I just cranked up the business because at that time I was still running the business as well as a firefighter. And so it basically worked out.
Let's go back about before you was a firefighter. Is that something that was a dream of you as a kid, or how'd you get involved in being a firefighter? What inspired you to do that?
Well, my family was on the fire service. So when I was little and growing up, I seen their lifestyle, and it just, I like the structure. I like I'm the type of person that really like to progress, and all the things that the fire service had to offer. I feel like I was a good fit for that. Also, I had a lot of trauma growing up, so I wanted to get back so I could be in that situation to make a difference in people's lives. That was the 2 main reasons why I pursued the fire department.
You know what, Shawn? I hear a lot of first responders, not just firefighters, but a lot of them have some trauma or dysfunctional family growing up, and the way they try to do, they go into service the fire department, police department, so they can be rescuers of people. Is that something that you were talking about the trauma?
Yeah, that's exactly it. yeah, when you go through things, you don't want no one else to go through it. And in the fire service, as you know, we're the first ones there. We can make a big difference on the outcome. Just like the golden hour. You know, we're the first ones there to that scene, and everything's going medical now. So that's a big factor. I don't know how you guys do it, but out west, we do medical and also fire together as one. You got to be cross trained.
Absolutely. We do the same thing here in Indiana. We got fire and EMS put together. Kind of going through your career, Shawn, do you remember any kind of peer support when you first got on or when that developed at your department, if it did?
That was on the tail end. We never really had peer support. We had support come to talk to us a little bit about the incident, but if you've seen someone struggling and stuff like that, no, I didn't really see peer support until the tail end. It's starting to get more awareness where they, encourage us to talk about it and stuff. It used to be you don't really talk about it. You laugh about it, have a good time about it, but you don't really express your feelings because our philosophy at our house was leave your uh, feelings at the door and come in and take care of business and then pick back up your feelings. And to me, that's how I feel people go down the road of alcohol or drugs or being in an abusive relationship because they never been able to let it out. And then now it's getting better where they have, peer support where you can talk to people and stuff like that.
So, Shawn, I got to ask you this, Jeff, here. So pretty much the stigma at that point in time was alive and kicking then?
Yes.
Okay. So have you seen an improvement on that since then?
I've seen a big improvement. And I hate to say it took Phoenix Fire had multiple suicides, and that brought attention. And it just took a lot of people that suffered that they started bringing in, professionals to say that there was a problem. And it's been going on because, like I said, I grew up around the fire service. So you could tell that it's been going on, but they never expressed it or they covered up with alcohol or things like that. But yeah, it's getting better. I've seen it getting better. We're getting educated about it. We're realizing that it's a problem. Now we're fixing the problem with the Center of Excellence. That was the best move that they ever made, because you feel safe there. You're around your family, your brothers, your firefighter family, and you can open up and release all that. It's not the general public. So I think it's a good move. I know it's a good move. I'm confident with the move that they made, and it should have been sooner, but at least we have it.
Yeah, the hindsight's definitely there.
Hey, Shawn, I want to rewind just a little bit, and if it's too difficult to talk about, we'll go on to the next question. But you mentioned about your son passing away, and you was on the fire department. Is that was that accompanied with some other thing with your son passing away? Is that why you had to go to the Center of Excellence to get treatment?
Um, that was one of the main reasons. But I started alcohol, and it took my life for a turn. Went through my second divorce, and then my son passed, and it was affecting my job. Whenever we get a call that simulate that, I was breaking out in sweats. I wasn't myself, and I didn't want to put my crew into jeopardy, so I had to open up about it. I also got a DUI, my second DUI, and it was this eye opener saying that something has to change or you're going to stay in this circle. And if you stay in that circle, there's consequences or there's something that's going to really compromise it unless you break that cycle. So I had a captain for many years, and he's the one that suggested the center. And once we made the call to the center, it was so interesting in a good way. They stayed in communication with me from that call all the way until I got up there. And that's the first time I feel like someone really cared. And when I got up there, I really took it serious, educated myself about mental health and learned as much as I could. Met some terrific guys. Matter of fact, I met Skip up there. It was a win-win and changed my life. And I'm not going to say I still struggle, but I got the tools to, when those struggles come, to use.
Well, I know the Center of Excellence is what Shawn's talked about in Maryland. There's also other treatment centers for first responders that we work with too, but that's one that I was grateful to meet Shawn. He helped me feel comfortable when I came in there, and there's 60 plus firefighters and first EMS workers when you get there, and it's supported by AFF, the International. So it's a good treatment center, but we have some other good treatment centers around here too. But Shawn, while you was in there, let everybody how many days you were in there, and what did you do? What was your daily routine while you was in the center, as far as going to groups and therapy?
I was there 42 days. The routine was activities every day, different activities. I feel like they mostly try to balance you using living in a moment, teaching you techniques like breathing techniques, teaching you techniques how to associate your emotions, because a lot of it is emotions. And I'm related to the fire department. One thing they teach us is to shut down our emotions. But I learned from the fire Center of Excellence, you gotta relay those emotions. Those emotions coming for a reason. So acknowledge it, but then let it go. Instead of cutting it down and shutting it out, no, acknowledge those emotions and then let it go. Also, they had a beautiful gym that you can relieve a little stress by working out. They had yoga. That's getting big into the academies. I don't know if you guys doing it, but when our guys go through the academy, they bring in a yoga professional to go through yoga. They had pretty good food. Our diet was there. It was great. It was great. I really learned a lot, and just to share your stories with other people and listen to other people's stories, and there's similarities there. It might come in different fashions, but you learn from listening to people and the different techniques that they used and stuff like that.
You know, that yoga, of course, I'm a big critic of anything. I try it out, and that yoga, man, there was a lot of grunting. I was hurting, it was funny to see a lot of people that are overweight, older guys try to do yoga. I don't know about you, Jeff. I don't know if you and Shawn can relate to that.
Oh, man, I aced it. I look like a rubber band. I was awesome. Can you believe that? I was in traction for a week.
You know, the best part I liked about yoga is when it was done.
Yeah. Yoga, another 4-letter word.
No, all kidding aside, you know, once I did it more than once, and at the very end, when they did that calming, the young lady that taught the class, it had a calming effect, and it did work. It was something that I never tried before. And I think the Center of Excellence and other treatment facilities around the United States, they help you get you out of your comfort zone. And they push you, whether sharing your emotions,
exactly.
Push it, and just so that you know you're not alone. And I don't have to do it alone. I was able to go through some stuff with Shawn through different groups. And, you know, just like I don't go into fires, it's you go, we go. And that's how the Center of Excellence, these other treatment centers, you're not alone. We're here with you, and we're going to be here with you through the hard stuff too. Did you guys get that kind of feeling?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. For sure.
Absolutely. I did.
Okay. Shawn, let's go. I know Jeff's chomping to bit to ask this question, but let's finish. When you commenced out your first 30 days at home, how was it your first 30 days at home after you got out of the Center of Excellence, after you got out of the bubble?
It was interesting. A lot of guys on the job, I was still on the job, went back to the job, was asked a lot of questions. Actually, I became a part of our fire department's mental health. I helped build that program. It was scary at first, but I had a good support system. Good thing I have Skip and other guys that, could call, and they have different stuff on the network that, you could get involved with. But it went pretty smooth at the first 30 days. I didn't have no relapse or anything like that.
Well, good. Well, I'm so glad you came on here, and I'm gonna turn this over to Jeff. We're gonna go in the second segment. We're gonna talk about, Shawn, your business and how important service dogs or emotional support dogs and the terminology, the difference of both. But Jeff, it's all yours, man. Have at it.
Oh man, you're right. I've been chomping at the bit in this one. And Shawn, thanks for coming aboard and sharing your story with us today too. I found it interesting as well. It was able to relate in so many different ways. All right, so I'm gonna fire right off, man. Why dogs and mental health?
Why dogs and mental health? If you go back in history, dogs always been man's best friend. And one thing about dogs, they're going to be loyal. People always tell my clients, you got to look at it like this. People could think one way with their heart and one way with their mind. A dog can't do that. A dog's going to be predictable every time. So when you come in and the dog's used to you being one way, the dog's going to pick up on when you're having that bad day, or pick up on when you're happy. And it's going to be consistent. People can't do that.
How do they do that? I mean, do they just look at you, or do they have a keen sense, an internal sixth sense that we're not really looking at here? I'm just trying to figure out how to make the connection that you're not. I mean, they just look at you and probably see that you're not having a good day, or your body mechanics or body language rather. Is that how they read you?
Yeah, dogs are very detailed creatures. They pay attention to detail. Humans don't. So whenever there's a problem, you're going to display it. Just like if you doing an interview, say you come into an interview with the fire department, your body language is going to tell a lot about you from the get-go. But a dog is more detailed than that. It goes by the smallest detail. I'll give you an example. If you have a dog at your house and you pull up in your car, that dog knows that car. I could pull up in the same car, same model car, same exact car, and that dog will be able to tell the difference by not even looking at the car. You see how detailed they are? Or the dog can listen to your footsteps, have the door shut, listen to your footsteps, and know the difference between someone else and you. They're just very detailed creatures. That's why they're finding out that dogs does tremendous with people with mental health issues.
Is there a specific breed that you find better to work with, that you have better results with than other breeds?
Yes, it is. And what we do is go by genetics. Everything was bred for specific purpose. So we get the qualities we look for on the tasks that we want that dog to do. And we look at that what was that dog bred for? So that's why you see a lot of labs. You used to see a lot of golden retrievers, but they're getting away from the golden retrievers because they're breaking down. Breaking down means they're not bred correctly. People's not paying attention to the structure of the dog. They're more in it for the money. So you start getting a hyper dog with a hyper dog. What are you going to get? You start getting a shy dog with a shy dog. What are you going to get? Yeah. As a trainer, it's proven fact, or with people, you can't change that person's personality. You could give it tools to work with what it was created with. Same thing with a dog. I could cover it up and mask it. Say that dog's shy, I could walk it past say it's shy every time I see the trash can. I could walk it past the trash can 10, 12 times. It'll be comfortable with that. But something else it's not familiar with, it's going to show me that shyness.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
I understand. I do understand.
Unless I condition it around.
Skip's the same way when we take him out too, but that's different.
That's funny.
Hey, let's not pick on me, Danny. I thought that's every other day.
No, I said Skip. I didn't say Shawn. So, Shawn, what is your favorite breed?
It depends on, I used to be a shepherd guy, but it depends on the task. I used to train military dogs. I used to train police dogs. I still do pets. It depends on what I'm using that dog for. To me, I'm a working dog guy, so I have to either say a Belgian Mal or Shepherd because I own lab.
Belgian Mal, wow. I tell you what, you better have a pot of coffee on standby for that Belgian. Those dogs are high energy, man. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. All right. So I know there's no real blanket answer to this question, but when you're talking service animals, service dogs specifically, how much time does it take to invest in one of these animals before they're ready to get cut loose?
The techs say anywhere from about 120 to 160 hours. But it goes down to that dog. Just like humans, it depends on how that human can understand the information. So every dog's different. And what we're finding out, if we start them off younger, we're producing them a lot quicker. The olden rule was we didn't start touching that dog till that dog got a year old. We used to send that dog to a puppy raiser so the dog gets understands how things work. And then it came through the academy. But now we're pushing them out street ready at a year old. So it depends on that dog.
Wow.
Before, we wasn't pushing them out.
And then you're going to have to match it with the handler.
Yes.
And that's another training aspect there is training the trainer or training the handler.
Well, what we usually do is get to know the handler and try to match that handler with the dog with the same lifestyle, like the same things, and it's kind of a similar personality. I wouldn't give it, like I had one client that never wanted to leave the house. So I convinced that client, you got to trust this dog. And she bought off into it. Now I gave her a little higher energy dog that she had to take her out because that's someone that she really trusts her best.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
All right, right on tracking. Yes, sir.
So it depends on the dog.
Okay, Shawn, we got a good friend that's in Illinois, and he is just bothering you to death about something. What's that guy's name?
I have to look at my phone. I'm getting old. Can't even remember his name. What's his name?
Chris Kovac. I tell you why, every time I talk to him, I'm getting a service dog from Shawn. Yep, he's going to give me a service dog. That's all I ever hear from him. Yep. And he's like a little kid. But I know when we came out there and visit you, you got a nice place out there, and you really do good work. And I just appreciate your heart and how you help first responders around the United States.
Thank you. Thanks. That means a lot.
Well, I tell you, Shawn and Jeff, just because we've been out, we got help, we got treatment, I need to do maintenance. I had a reoccurrence about a run a few months ago, and I didn't run to a drink or drug, but what I did is run to my therapist and to get help. So even though we went through treatment, it's not a one and done thing. We got to do maintenance on that. Can you guys relate to that?
Yes, 100%.
Every day.
100%.
Every day.
Okay, Shawn, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, and we're going to talk about FDIC, the dates, and then our sponsors again. But Shawn, somebody right now is listening to this podcast. Now, it could be a first responder. They might be sitting in their apartment going through a divorce. they might be bills stacking up, or they might be well off and just not happy, depressed about lost a loved one, or, drinking too much, and they need help, but they don't know how to do it, or they're afraid to. What are you going to tell them? You got about 1 minute to talk to them to get to them. What are you going to tell them right now?
Well, the first thing I'm gonna tell them, I'm gonna give them your number, Skip. You the man. You really do good things. You got a program that really can change people's life. And first thing you have to do is take the step to surround yourself around that kind of resource. I think I will also try to tell them that one thing, you got to find a purpose, and it's kind of hard for some people. But if you have a purpose in your life, that's going to give you that drive, and you got to understand that the less distractions you have or can stay away from it, you're going to drive to that purpose. So I would try to convince them to find that their purpose. Like when we first tried to get on the fire department, we had a purpose. We did the testing. We wanted that job, and you got to find that drive and cut out the distractions and be around support, because it's hard to ask people for help. We're helpers. We want to help everyone, but who want to help us? Does it make sense?
No, that's good stuff, Shawn. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you sharing your heart and some of the struggles that you have, but also the successes, and what you're doing with your business is not only for first responders, but people every day. I know for my four-legged angels, like I call them, man, they know when I walk in, it's like I feel good. I get to hug them. There's no judgment on them, like our friend Pete Lewin in England says. They're there for me, and I really appreciate that you do that. And you're a good man. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks. That means a lot. Thank you.
Okay, Shawn. Here's another question.
All right.
If you're going through a struggle, something's going on, what slogan or what saying, what kind of keeps going through your mind when you're going through something? Is there a quote or something that works for you?
That's a good question. In my room, I have what my mission is. So every year, if it's a comeback, I have things that triggers that. So whenever I get up in the morning, I see that. And when I leave, I keep that in mind. I'm a visual person, and I try to surround myself around business coaches or anyone that I want to be remembered of or I'm trying to accomplish. And I think that's what keeps me in line. I'm not saying that I don't have the struggles, but I just have those, just like things trigger us. They taught us that in the center. Things trigger us to do that. So I counterreact that with having things that trigger me to stay on the right path.
Oh, absolutely. I think positive reinforcement of language, of actions, I think that's great. Okay, Shawn. Hey, Shawn, give a shout. What's your business again, and where are you located at?
Hillside Canine, Camp Verde, Arizona. We got a location in Payson, Arizona, and we got a location in Dewey, Arizona. You can reach us. Just go to hillsidecanine.com if you want to reach us.
Okay, Shawn. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. And I'd like to give everybody a shout out of a few dates. FDIC is coming up, and the Worldwide Peer Support will have an exhibit. We have a dinner by invitation only. Jason Sawtell will be hosting, along with his wife, Christy, will be there. And then he's invited Derek Robinson. He's an editor of Continue. And Jason wrote the book, The Rescuer. Those are two good books, The Rescuer and Continue. And they'll be there if you want to meet Jason that night. Like I said, it's invitation only. Get a hold of us if you'd like to be there. Or if you're a business that would like to sponsor us and you'd like to show up, you'd like to sponsor this podcast, let us know too. The exhibits are on the 27th, 28th, and 29th at Lucas Oil Stadium and Convention Center here in Indiana. And we are sponsors for our podcast. Again, it's Turning Point Madison County. Bridges of Hope, the Warriors program, not only does the podcast, they're sponsoring the exhibit too. So I just really appreciate Shawn and Jeff being on here. And also, I just want to tell everybody, go home tonight, shut your radio off, and get some sleep. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Burnout. Burnout is brought to you by the Worldwide Peer Support. You can visit Burnout Podcast at burntoutpodcast.org or visit Worldwide Peer Support at worldwidepeersupport.org. Your host for Burnt Out is Skip O. Executive producer Shawn P. Neal. And produced by mypodcastmedia.